Good evening, I'm Camelia and this is KiniNews. Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim has lauded the construction of the planned Madani Mosque. He gave credit to the ministers and agencies involved in the negotiations, saying that they demonstrated the wisdom, strength and nobility of Islam. Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim officiated the groundbreaking ceremony for the Madani Mosque project today. During his speech, Anwar described the planned construction of the Madani Mosque at the heart of Masjid India as a victory after a decade of stalled development. However, he said the success, which he credited to various federal ministers and others directly involved, was not achieved through a show of arrogance against others.
Ini bukan cerita kemenangan kita. Ini kita kena ingat kepada Islam. Ya. Kemenangan kita ini bukan kerana keakuan atau kemenangan. Kemenangan kita ini ia kerana kita mampu menunjukkan kebijaksanaan, kekuatan dan kemuliaan Islam. Bukan keakuan. Itu dari saya falah. Sebenarnya falah itu bila kita dapat muncul sebagai contoh yang baik. Ini orang Islam pribadi yang baik, esa, penyayang, adil. Bukan contohnya itu pengis dan benci. Ini tidak pernah menjadi dasar yang
Anwar also said that his instructions to the cabinet have been consistent, which is to negotiate properly through any means necessary. He added that finding an amenable solution is not a sign of weakness, contrary to claims by certain quarters. After several days of intense debate and discussions, the committee of the 130-year-old temple that is currently on the site had agreed to relocate to a new 4,000 square foot location nearby. The new plot of land would be gazetted for the temple on a permanent basis, ending uncertainties over its future. Meanwhile, Zaid Ibrahim said that the government must represent and help all communities. While commenting on the temple issue, he also asked why Malays did not display the same level of anger towards corruption. Zaid Ibrahim has questioned the intense outrage among Malays on social media regarding the temple mosque issue and not towards corruption cases. The former law minister told Malaysiakini that if we display the same level of anger towards corruption and abuse of power, such as the ongoing corruption scandal in Sabah, then we would have better leaders who could help the community and nation progress. Zaid also pointed out that non-Muslims are taxpayers who contribute to the nation's coffers and therefore deserve government assistance. He said the government does not serve only Malays and Muslims, it represents all Malaysians, upholding their interests as enshrined in the federal constitution. He also advised everyone not to be swayed by those who exploit this issue for personal gain. Earlier in a post on Twitter, Zaid expressed concern over the frustration among Muslims when the government grants concessions to non-Muslims, whether in the form of land or places of worship or financial assistance. He said Muslims have more than enough mosques and financial aid from the government to be satisfied, yet he saw so much anger on social media over the recent temple issue in Kuala Lumpur. While urging people to give Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim time, the former minister criticized the Madani government for failing to address the real causes of religious intolerance. He argued that the faults are deeply rooted and lie in our faulty education system, both secular and religious. Still on the temple issue, Zaliha Mustafa has refuted claims that the government paid 2 million ringgit in compensation to the temple. Federal Territories Minister Zaliha Mustafa has denied claims that the government gave 2 million ringgit in compensation to the Dewi Sri Patra Kaliaman Temple. This was in response to an allegation by preacher Firdaus Wong. In a statement last night, Zaliha said the allegations were completely false and baseless. She stressed that the government had neither promised nor approved any form of compensation to the temple as claimed. She said there was no agreement or any other deal aside from the resolution that she had officially announced. Zaliha emphasized that a win-win outcome was achieved through harmonious discussions among all involved parties. She said most importantly, the construction of the mosque, which had been delayed since 2020 on privately owned land, can now proceed as planned, while the temple management has agreed to relocate to an identified alternative site. She also urged urged all parties to refrain from inciting religious or racial sentiments based on inaccurate information. Previously, it was reported that Kuala Lumpur City Hall had agreed to relocate the Dewi Sri Patra Kaliamman Temple to a new location located approximately 50 meters from its current site along Jalan Munshi Abdullah off Jalan Masjid India. The 4,000 square feet plot of land would be gazetted for the temple on a permanent basis. Before we move on, consider supporting us by scanning the QR code on the screen and subscribing to Malaysiakini. Next, from April 21st, all students at institutions under the Education Ministry will be required to wear a badge with the national flag. Here's more on that. All students at institutions under the Education Ministry will be required to wear a national flag badge beginning April 21st. This is according to a ministry circular issued today. The MOE said the guidelines for wearing the badges were approved by the Cabinet on February 14th. It is applicable to all government schools, government-aided schools, matriculation colleges, and institutes of teacher education, while other educational institutions are encouraged to adopt the practice. It said this plays a key role in inculcating patriotism and love toward the country among students and educators. As such, it said grassroots efforts needs to be implemented holistically to ensure the spirit is preserved and thrives. The ministry said it would also provide 2 badges for free to all students of the 2025-2026 academic year. The ministry also outlined the proper procedures for badge placement. The goals of the policy are to encourage patriotism, foster unity, showcase national identity, promote responsibility and discipline, foster pride towards the nation, and as a sign of respect to the country. Jamal Yunus has been admitted to hospital. According to reports, Jamal said that his doctors found that the cancer cells in his lungs had spread to his brain. Sungai Besar UMNO chief Jamal Mat Yunus says that the cancer cells in his lungs have now spread to his brain. According to Berita Harian, he said he was admitted to a private hospital in Ampang last Saturday. Jamal said he experienced pain in his neck and head while cooking at home. He added that after undergoing a magnetic resonance imaging scan, the doctor found the cancer cells that were previously in his lungs had now spread to the brain by 3 centimeters. He then urged the public to pray for his speedy recovery. On December 23rd, Jamal had been admitted to Prince Court Hospital after the recurrence of his stage 4 lung cancer. His son, Amin Daniel Jamal, had told the Malaysian Gazette then that the cancer his father had for the past 2 years had returned and attacked his respiratory organs. Terengganu PAS non-Muslim supporters wing has responded to those who put up posters calling for Ahmad Samsuri Mokhtar resignation. Terengganu PAS non-Muslim supporters wing or DHPP said that those who put up posters against Ahmad Samsuri Mokhtar must be party outsiders. In a statement, Terengganu DHPP chief Balachandran Gopal Krishnan said PAS is an Islamic movement that has always been based on the teachings of the Quran and Sunnah. Balachandran, who is also one of Samsuri's special officers, said that PAS members and leaders will not engage in such dirty tactics because our struggle is based on the principles of justice and truth. Therefore, he said it is clear that such actions come from outside parties who are trying to create a bad perception of the state and party leadership. Balachandran added that if it is true that there is dissatisfaction with Samsuri, then it should be voiced through the proper channels and based on facts. He said it is normal in politics if there are parties who feel threatened. However, he said if they really want to compete, they should prove it with better performance and ideas, not with cheap tactics such as emotional banners without a solid foundation. He added that the act of hanging a banner with a provocative message signals only an inability to argue intellectually. Previously, PAS Deputy President Tuan Ibrahim Tuan Man reportedly told Free Malaysia Today that the party's central and state leadership had no issues with the Terengganu Menteri Besar. He denounced the posters as a cheap shot at PAS after the party's successful administration of the state. That is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTv.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'm Kimilia. Thanks for watching.